Welcome back to Dan's Learning Curve. Good to see you all again. Well, maybe some of you had watched the last video, and I hope to find a smoking gun to why I didn't have oil pressure, why it wasn't showing oil pressure, the mechanical gauge, and the idiot light. Both the idiot light stayed on, and the mechanical gauge showed 0. And I was hoping to find a smoking gun, like maybe the oil pump drive tab got twisted off, or I don't know, maybe something jammed up the pump, but let me show you what I'm finding. Kind of out of place for an oil pump, but this thing is smooth as silk. And look at that. Look at that. It's pumping. Yeah, there'll be some rust proof in there. But look at that. So I have footage of me turning the engine over with the sending unit and the pressure gauge tube out of the block, and no oil came up. So what's the deal with that? I don't know, but I know that this is not the place to look, so time to put it back together. It's a little harder than the Chevy small blocks I'm used to. After I put this thing back together, I don't remember putting the oil pump back in it when I was 15. But after I was 15, I started working on Chevy small blocks, 67 Chevy Bel Air, and GMC Suburban. Actually, it was a Suburban with a 307 in it, Chevy small block. And they're so much easier to get the distributor and the oil pump in. You just put the oil pump in, and you put the rotor pointing where you want to go, and you just put a little downward pressure on it, have someone turn the key. It'll rotate around until it drops in the oil pump drive, and the distributor drops down, and you are good to go. This one has that intermediate gear, and so I have to get this on TDC, and then figure out where I want the distributor pointing, hopefully towards 1. It'd be, of course, just in cylinder number 1 on top dead center, and then we'll go from there. So let me get it on top dead center, and then I will get the intermediate shaft in with the distributor pointing the right direction. Then what I'll probably do is take the oil pump and rotate it and clock the flat drive to where the intermediate shaft is. So maybe I'll get the intermediate shaft and give you a small demonstration here. Okay, here's the intermediate shaft with the gear on it. Right here is the slot to drive the oil pump. This gear goes onto the camshaft, and to get this out, I had to rotate the engine backwards and use a strong magnet, or I used the snap ring pliers and just let's see, what did I do? Well, you know what? I'm wrong. It goes like this. It goes like that, and the distributor runs off of there. Yeah, because I used snap ring pliers, internal snap ring pliers, applied pressure, then turned the engine backwards, and this lifted out of the cam gear. So, you know what? We'll interrupt this to bring you a CAT scan. Here's old man Tim. He's 7. He was missing for quite a few years, 6, 7 years, maybe he's 8, I don't know. But he came back. Tim, where were you? Tim, we sure miss you. Yeah, I didn't think you were alive anymore. Yeah, you're such a good Kiki. Yeah, he's been through battle. He looks so much older when we saw him before, but he's such an affectionate cat. See ya, Tim. Bye-bye. All right, where were we? Do you approve? CAT scan approved? All right, CAT scan approved. So, where was I? So that goes like that, and then the distributor drives off of this tank right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the engine turned over to TDC for the cylinder number 1, top dead center, and then I will get the distributor. I'll get this intermediate shaft dropped into the camshaft with the drive slot for the distributor pointing towards cylinder number 1. Then I'll bring this oil pump up to match it with the slot drive. Yeah, Chevy small block would be a whole lot easier. Alright, let me get this engine turned over. Alright, number 1 spark plug removed, and that thing is burning nice. It's got a nice gray. Let's get focused here. Focus. Focus, please. I'm using a cheap cell phone, guys, so, but it does pretty decent, I think. Look at that gray tan. That's burning nice. Alright, so, oh, fun fact. This spark plug socket, my dad bought probably around 1968 with the rest of his socket set tools and stuff. I've got majority of that stuff. I don't have the upper tray for the toolbox, and things got lost and things like that. But I have this spark plug socket, and I have quite a few of the sockets. Don't have the breaker bar, ratchet, or anything like that. I don't know what happened to that. Alright, so now we got an oil pump here. And the oil is just smooth oil pump. I don't think I did that repair for the screen, but I think it's approved. Definitely approved. That's not going anywhere, like everybody says. Yeah. Alright, I'll bring you back once I get this engine on TDC for number 1. Okay, now I've got the number 1 piston on top dead center of compression, and how I know that is I got this hose jammed into the spark plug hole, and if I blow into it, it's not leaking out of any valves, it's just leaking around the hose. So that's how I know both valves are closed. And so now I need to figure out where the distributor rotor points in the cap that goes to this spark plug wire here, which is number 1. And then the firing order is the same as a Chevy small block, which is 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. You know what? That's memorized from a long time ago. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. If you know that, we can be friends. Alright. Alright, I'll get the distributor lined up, get the intermediate gear in there. I'll get the intermediate gear lined up, then the distributor in. Alright, bring you back. Thought I'd share a little bit of ignition points since it's a dying art. Do this. These are the ignition points right here. And every cylinder has a lobe. See that lobe right there on the, see the point open and close? Okay. How long that point is open from there to there is called dwell. Focus. Okay. So, when those points are closed, it's giving power to the primary winding of the coil, the ignition coil. When this point's open up, the moment it opens up, that magnetic field or magnetic field collapses into itself, and it goes into the secondary winding, which creates the spark. So basically the coil is a transformer. So as soon as that opens right there, that is when the coil sends the spark to the spark plug and fires. Okay, so everything, the amount of time this is open and when it opens is when the spark comes. And then this is right here is called a condenser in an automotive world, but really it's a capacitor. And basically what it does, it takes the electromagnetic force, that's what the EMF is called, I was digging for it a little bit ago, but it takes the electromagnetic force from the primary winding, and instead of burning, sending that spark across the points, it takes the brunt of the spark coming back. So that way your points last a lot longer. If you have a set of points that are burning up really quick and stuff, two things could be wrong. You're running battery voltage to your points, and or your condenser, aka capacitor, could be bad. So just some things to think about, fun facts and all that good stuff. Fun fact is, this is a set of points that were in it when my dad ran it, when I ran it back then. I got a couple new sets of points from when I was working on getting this thing years ago, and I opened them up and they were configured wrong. They weren't the right points for this distributor. So I did get the right condenser, so I had a new condenser, and I cleaned up the contacts on this, and they're burning really well. I mean, they're nice and gray, so not pitted at all. So I think we're doing okay there. All right, I got number 1 on TDC, and now I will figure out where this tab on the end. Where are you? Come on, find the camera. Oh, such a struggle is real. There it is. There it is. Find that with the intermediate shaft. We'll get things lined up. All right, bring it back. Thought I'd bring you back for this little bit. I put the cap on the distributor, and I scribed a little line right there, and that's where the rotor should line up for spark plug number 1. So now I know where the intermediate shaft, the T slot drive there, needs to go. Oh, focus, struggle is real, right there. So that's where I need to. This distributor has a little bit of leeway where get that frame, has a little leeway back and forth where it can be, but you can get it can't cocked over too far one way or the other, and then you can't get it in time. And on this thing, if I get the intermediate shaft in one tooth too far over, it's going to be a real pain to time it, and I'll have to take it apart again. So I'm going to make extra effort to get this in the right place. Well, there's the line, and there's the pliers. I think I won. The gear is meshed with the cam gear, so all right, now the distributor can go into there. All right, I'll bring it back. All right, the distributor is in here, but I think I need to bring it 1 tooth counterclockwise or clockwise to because right now, to have my number 1 lined up with the rotor, which line is right there, I can't turn the distributor back counterclockwise any further right now. So I'm going to bring that intermediate shaft back out and move that gear 1 mesh, 1 gear tooth counterclockwise. All right, here we have it. The distributor is in. The rotor is not quite the angle I had drawn on there, but I think I can get enough adjustment, advance, and retard by turning the distributor, so it's good to go there. Next is to get the oil pump, align it with the slot with the intermediate shaft, and put the 2 bolts in for the oil pump. All right, we're underneath the engine. Look at those shiny aluminum pistons. How shiny they are. Don't even have any gunk buildup on them. That's how low mileage this engine is. Look at that. I put those in when I was 15, 16. After I pulled it out, pulled the pistons out, and found a stuck ring. Put it back together. So I may end up pulling them out again and checking, putting new rings in it, putting some Molly rings, and right now they have cast iron rings. That's what my dad wanted to put in it for some reason. I don't think he believed in the Molly rings, so whatever reason. So now, the question at hand is, there is the hole. The shaft for the oil pump goes up. Look, is it that one or that one? No, wait a minute. Those are both holes, and so it's a big one right there. Let's see if we can see where the slot is on that intermediate shaft. I don't know if we can turn the torch on here on the phone. There we go. Maybe that'll illuminate it good enough. Well, I'm just going to have to rotate the oil pump until I get the slot, the tab to measure that slot, and then I'll get it bolted up, bring it back. Okay. I just noticed something that hole I was showing you, trying to see where the intermediate drive was the hole the oil pump shoots the oil up into the block. Yeah, it's late. I'm tired. And I just figured out that when you're older, it's not as easy climbing up on these fenders and into the engine, no matter how much room there is, because you get bigger and older. But fun fact, let's get a fun fact here without covering up the lens here. This torque wrench was my dad's. Oh, get it in frame here. That torque wrench, that beam torque wrench there. And this is the torque wrench that I torqued the heads with when I had it apart, torqued the rods and everything. So it'll be put to use again. And 35 foot-pounds on those two mounting bolts there. Once I get that torqued up, I'll be calling it a night and going and edit this and get it up for you guys.